Hashtag Godlike humans strike fear into Galactic Empire HFY full tale. Hashtag Part 1 First Contact. Commander Tejo Park stared at the holographic display showing the alien vessel approaching Earth orbit. The Galactic Empire, as they called themselves, had arrived without warning, their massive ships dwarfing humanity's orbital stations. "They're requesting to speak with Earth's leadership," Lieutenant Jaiwo Kim reported, her fingers dancing across the control panel. "Put them through," Tejo ordered. The face that appeared was distinctly non-human, scaled skin, four eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and a lipless mouth that barely moved as it spoke through the translation system. "I am High Commander Valak of the 8th Imperial Fleet. We claim this sector under the authority of the Galactic Imperial Throne. Your species will be granted protectorate status if you submit peacefully." Tejo maintained his composure. "We appreciate your offer, High Commander, but Earth is not seeking new governance. We welcome peaceful exchange, however." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation." When the transmission ended, Tejo turned to his team. "Activate the Aegis protocol." Within hours, orbital defense platforms that had been hidden in plain sight deployed around Earth. Technology that humanity had kept secret from their own population, let alone from alien observers, came online. When the Imperial ships launched their first diplomatic escorts toward Earth's surface, they were met with defense systems that shouldn't have been possible for a primitive species. The Imperial shuttles were disabled with precision strikes that left crew members unharmed but their technology useless. In the Imperial flagship, High Commander Valak received the reports with growing alarm. How could they have such technology? The assessment said they were centuries behind us. His science officer looked troubled. "Sir, preliminary analysis suggests their neural patterns are unusual. Their cognitive architecture allows for intuitive leaps our species cannot make." "Are you suggesting they're superior?" Valak hissed. "Not superior," the science officer replied carefully. "Different. Dangerous." Hashtag Part 2 The Imperial Miscalculation. 6 months later, a much larger Imperial fleet arrived in Earth's solar system. Admiral Soho Lee, now leading Earth's Unified Defense Command, watched calmly as 50 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Captain Minji Khan. "They claim this is a peacekeeping force." Soho smiled slightly. "While carrying enough firepower to glass a continent? Interesting peacekeeping methods." Earth had used the intervening months wisely. The technology recovered from the disabled Imperial shuttles had accelerated human understanding exponentially. What might have taken decades to develop had been accomplished in months. As the Imperial fleet moved into attack formation, Soho gave the order, "Deploy the Phantom Grid." Across Earth's orbit, seemingly empty space shimmered as hundreds of autonomous defense platforms decloaked. Before the Imperial ships could react, precisely calibrated gravity weapons disrupted their drive systems, leaving them adrift. Admiral Dobbin of the Imperial fleet watched in horror as his vessels lost power one by one. "Impossible. Their technology shouldn't be able to counter our shielding." 3 of his largest dreadnoughts were captured intact, their crews evacuated into stasis pods while human engineers swarmed through the vessels, absorbing knowledge at an alarming rate. In the Imperial capital, the news caused panic among the ruling council. "These humans," whispered Council Elder Tekaru, "they learn too quickly. They adapt too well." "They're just another species," countered Councillor Mahak. "No," Tekaru responded gravely. "I fear they are something else entirely." Hashtag Part 3 Human Expansion. 2 years passed. Dr. Hyun Choi stood on the observation deck of humanity's first interstellar colony on Proxima Centauri b, watching as construction drones assembled habitat domes at impossible speeds. "The neural augmentation research is progressing faster than anticipated," reported his colleague, Dr. Do-Hyun Kwan. "The Empire's medical databases confirmed what we suspected: human brains process information fundamentally differently from other species. Our neural plasticity is off the charts compared to Imperial standards." Hyun nodded. "And with the enhanced quantum computing we developed from their tech, were advancing generations beyond what they thought possible. Human colonies spread rapidly across nearby star systems, each one a blend of Earth culture and revolutionary technology. Ships that the Empire had thought would take decades to build emerged from human shipyards in months. On the Imperial border world of Vaster, Imperial Governor Zelkin watched with growing unease as human diplomatic envoys arrived, offering trade agreements to planets that had suffered under Imperial rule for centuries. "They come bearing gifts and promises of freedom," he reported to his superiors. "And the populations are responding. 3 mining colonies have already declared independence." In the shadows of Vaster's capital city, Jihun Ryu, an undercover human operative, met with representatives of 7 oppressed species. "The Empire has kept you divided and conquered for centuries," he told them. "Humanity offers a different path: alliance, not subjugation." One alien, a tall, feathered being, leaned forward. "They call you godlike. They say humans can see patterns in chaos, create solutions from nothing." "We're not gods," Jihun replied. "We're just the first species the Empire encountered who refused to be victims." Part 4, The Imperial Response. The Battle of Orion changed everything. General Min Jae-yun commanded the human defense fleet when the Empire launched its full-scale invasion, bringing 1,000 warships against the human coalition's 200. "They've committed their reserve fleets," Tactical Officer Sun Woo-han reported. "This is their total war scenario." Min Jae activated the fleet-wide communication. "All ships, execute Protocol Thunderbolt." What followed would be spoken of in whispers across the galaxy for generations. Human ships moved with a coordination that seemed supernatural, anticipating Imperial maneuvers before they occurred. Weapons that Imperial scientists had deemed theoretically impossible tore through their most advanced shields. Most shocking was the human ground force deployment. Soldiers in powered armor demonstrated strength and endurance that terrified the Imperial troops. The human ability to adapt to injury, to continue fighting despite wounds that would incapacitate other species, led to rumors that they were immortal. In the aftermath, as the remnants of the Imperial fleet retreated, footage spread throughout the galaxy: human soldiers walking unharmed through firestorms, engineers repairing critical systems while exposed to radiation levels that should have been lethal, diplomatic corps members learning alien languages in days rather than years. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Vexnall watched these recordings with growing dread. "They're not just another species," he told his inner council. "They're something evolution should not have produced. They should have destroyed themselves long before reaching space." "Perhaps," suggested his strategic advisor, "they are the universe's answer to our dominion. A counterbalance. A punishment," the Emperor whispered. Part 5, A New Galactic Order. The Imperial capital world of Zenithar had never fallen in 12,000 years of history. Until today. President Suman Park of the Terran Confederation stood in the ancient Imperial throne room, facing representatives from over 300 species that had formerly been under Imperial rule. "Humanity does not seek to replace one empire with another," she announced. "The Terran Confederation offers membership to all worlds based on principles of self-determination and mutual defense." Among the alien delegates, whispers continued how humans had decoded the Imperial battle networks in weeks, how their scientists had reversed centuries of genetic manipulation the Empire had used to make certain species more compliant, how they had created medical treatments for conditions the Empire had deliberately left untreated to control populations. After the assembly, Suman met privately with her chief diplomat, Jae-hyun Kang. "They still fear us," she noted. "With good reason," Jae-hyun replied. "What we accomplished in a decade would have taken other species centuries. They struggle to understand how we adapt so quickly. We need to help them understand that what they see as godlike is simply human nature, curiosity, adaptability, and the refusal to accept limitations." A century later, the galaxy had transformed. The Galactic Council, headquartered on Earth, included representatives from over 1,000 worlds. Human innovations had spread throughout former Imperial space, raising living standards and extending lifespans across countless species. On a distant world, a young alien child asked their parent, "Why did the Empire fear humans so much?" The parent considered carefully before answering. Because humans showed the galaxy that impossible is just a word, not a law of nature. And that was the one thing the Empire could not control. The E&D Commander Tejo Park stood at the main viewport of Earth's orbital defense station, his eyes fixed on the stars. The monitoring systems had detected something unusual, a massive object dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. "Sir, the object is moving toward Earth," Lieutenant Jaiwo Kim reported. "It's big. Bigger than anything we've ever built." Tejo nodded, keeping his face calm even as his heart raced. "Alert all stations. Level 3 readiness, but no obvious defensive posture. Let's see who our visitors are." Within hours, the alien vessel had positioned itself in high Earth orbit. It was enormous, nearly 5 kilometers long, with a sleek design that spoke of advanced engineering. Smaller ships began to deploy from its hangars. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," Jaiwo said. "The translation software is processing it now." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything humans had seen before. It had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, scaled skin, and spoke through a mouth that barely moved. "People of Earth. I am High Commander Valak of the 8th Imperial Fleet. Your world now lies within the territory of the Galactic Empire. We offer you protection and guidance in exchange for your allegiance." Tejo exchanged glances with his officers before responding. "This is Commander Park of Earth United Defense. We welcome peaceful contact, but we are not seeking new governance. Perhaps we could discuss mutual cooperation instead?" The alien's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "You misunderstand. The Empire does not request. It claims. Your technological development level indicates you require supervision. Prepare to receive our diplomatic delegation." The transmission ended abruptly. "They're launching shuttles," Jaiwo reported. 10 of them, headed for major cities. Tejo's fingers tapped rapidly on his console. "Activate Aegis Protocol. All stations, silent mode." Around Earth, defense systems that had been hidden from public knowledge and apparently from alien observation powered up. Satellite weapons platforms, quantum disruption fields, and advanced interceptors all came online without broadcasting their presence. When the alien shuttles entered Earth's atmosphere, they were met with precision strikes that disabled their propulsion systems without destroying the vessels. The shuttles made emergency landings in uninhabited areas. On the Imperial flagship, High Commander Valak received the reports with growing alarm. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Our scans showed no weapons capable of penetrating our shields." His science officer, a slender being with 6 limbs, looked troubled. "The technology they used doesn't match our intelligence reports. It appears they have kept their most advanced systems hidden." Valak pounded his fist on the command console. "Send in the recovery teams. I want those shuttles back and I want answers." But when Imperial recovery vessels approached Earth, they encountered more surprises. Earth's orbital defense platforms revealed themselves, using technology that the Empire had believed was centuries beyond human capability. Dr. Yunha Shin led the team examining the captured alien shuttle. As Earth's leading xenotechnologist, she had prepared for this moment her entire career. "Their propulsion system uses principles we theorized but never implemented," she told the assembled military leaders. "But their computer systems, they're actually less advanced than ours in some ways." General Dawan Kong frowned. "That doesn't make sense. How could they cross interstellar space with inferior computing?" "Different approach, not inferior," Yunha explained. "They focused on certain technologies and neglected others. But we can learn from this. Quickly." Within days, Earth's scientists had extracted valuable data from the alien technology. They discovered that the Galactic Empire consisted of dozens of species across hundreds of star systems, ruled by a central authority that had existed for thousands of years. On the 7th day after first contact, Commander Valak requested another communication. "Your species has surprised us," he admitted reluctantly. "Our intelligence suggested you were far less advanced." "Perhaps your empire needs better intelligence gathering," Tejo replied calmly. Valak's scaled skin darkened in what humans would later learn was a sign of anger. This misunderstanding can be corrected. The Empire will return with a proper diplomatic fleet to continue our discussion. After the transmission ended, Teho turned to his team. They're going to come back with warships. We have maybe 6 months to prepare. General Kong nodded grimly. Then we better make those months count. The alien technology will help us advance our defenses. Dr. Yunha studied the biomedical data they'd gathered from the captured aliens. There's something else interesting here. Their neural scans show significantly less complex brain activity than humans. They process information more linearly. Meaning what? Asked Teho. Meaning, Yunha said with a small smile, they think more simply than we do. And that might be our greatest advantage. As Earth prepared for the Empire's return, humanity unified as never before. The alien threat had accomplished what centuries of human history could not, a truly united planet, focused on survival and determined to remain free. Dr. Hyun Choi gazed out the window of humanity's first interstellar colony on Proxima Centauri b. The red light from the nearby star cast everything in a crimson glow, making the landscape look alien yet beautiful. Construction drones zipped across the sky, building habitat domes at incredible speeds. Beautiful, isn't it? Dr. Do-Hyun Kwan joined him at the viewport. 2 years ago, we were fighting for our survival. Now we're building cities on another world. Hyun nodded, his eyes following a group of workers installing a water reclamation system. The Empire never expected this pace of expansion. Their records show it took them 50 years to establish their first colony. Humans work differently, Do-Hyun said, offering Hyun a tablet. The neural scans confirm it. Our brains process information in ways the Empire species cannot. Their cognitive patterns are more rigid, more specialized. Hyun studied the brain scans on the tablet. The human neural networks showed more connections, more adaptability than the alien comparisons. And with their quantum computing technology, we've accelerated beyond what they thought possible. Beyond the main colony dome, 3 new ships were under construction. Using designs taken from captured Imperial vessels but improved by human engineers, these ships would be faster and more powerful than anything the Empire had. The mining colony on Tau Ceti reports they've already reached full production, Do-Hyun noted. They're extracting rare elements the Empire thought couldn't be mined efficiently. Because the Empire relies too heavily on automation, Hyun replied. Our human miners still see patterns the machines miss. Across human-controlled space, similar stories played out. Colonies that should have taken decades to establish became self-sufficient in months. Ships that Imperial engineers had designed to require years of construction were being completed in weeks. On the Imperial border world of Vaster, Ji-Hun Ryu moved carefully through the crowded marketplace. Though he appeared to be just another trader, he was actually a human diplomat on a secret mission. The Empire had ruled this world for centuries, extracting its resources while keeping the native population poor and dependent. Ji-Hun entered a small shop and made his way to the back room. 7 aliens of different species waited for him there, representatives of Vaster's main population groups. The Empire says humans are dangerous, said one alien with bright feathers and 4 arms. They say you will conquer us just as they did. The Empire fears us because we offer something they cannot, freedom without dependence, Ji-Hun replied, placing a small device on the table. It projected a hologram showing Earth's colonies. These worlds were established with local species as equal partners, not subjects, he explained. We bring technology and protection, you bring knowledge of your worlds and resources. A slender alien with gray skin leaned forward. The Empire has ruled us for 12 generations. They control our food, our medicine, our education. How can we resist them? Ji-Hun smiled. You don't have to. Not alone. He activated another device, revealing technical specifications for defensive systems. Humanity doesn't want subjects. We want allies. As the meeting continued, similar conversations were happening across 50 Imperial frontier worlds. Human diplomats, carrying technologies that could liberate planets from Imperial control, were offering partnerships instead of conquest. Back in Earth's solar system, Admiral Salmon Park oversaw the construction of the Terran Defense Fleet. 20 massive warships, each incorporating the best of human innovation and reverse-engineered Imperial technology, moved into formation around Jupiter. The mining stations on Europa are producing 3 times the expected output, her aide reported. The new fusion drives will be ready ahead of schedule. Salmon nodded with satisfaction. When the Empire had attacked Earth, they had expected to find a primitive species ripe for conquest. Instead, they had awakened humanity's greatest talent: adaptation. The Empire built their technology over thousands of years, advancing carefully and methodically, Salmon told her officers during their briefing. We've compressed centuries of development into months because we think differently. We see connections they miss. As the briefing ended, one of her officers asked the question on everyone's mind: will the Empire attack again? Without question, Salmon replied. But this time, we won't be fighting for survival. We'll be fighting for our future. Across the galaxy, the news spread rapidly. A new power had emerged, one that could challenge the Empire's dominance. Humans were expanding, bringing with them technologies that offered freedom from Imperial control. Most alarming to the Imperial Council was how quickly the subject species embraced human allies. 3 mining colonies on the frontier had already declared independence, protected by human defense systems that Imperial forces couldn't overcome. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Vexnall received the disturbing reports with growing concern. These humans, he said to his advisors, they don't just use technology. They transform it. They improve it in ways our engineers claim should be impossible. His chief strategist bowed respectfully. They think differently, Your Majesty. Their neural structures allow for cognitive leaps our species cannot make. Then they must be contained, the Emperor declared, before they spread their dangerous ideas further. Prepare our fleets. All of them. As the Empire marshaled its forces for a decisive strike against humanity, they remained unaware of a simple truth: the very qualities that made humans dangerous, creativity, adaptability, and cooperation, were the same qualities that would ensure their victory. General Min Jae-yoon stood motionless on the bridge of the Terran flagship Defiance, watching as the Imperial Armada emerged from faster-than-light travel. The tactical display showed hundreds of enemy warships, then more appeared, until the count reached over 1,000 vessels. They've committed everything, said Tactical Officer Sun Woo-han, her voice steady despite the overwhelming odds they faced. This is their total war scenario. Min Jae nodded calmly. The human fleet numbered only 200 ships, positioned near the Orion Nebula to protect the newly established colonies. But numbers alone didn't tell the whole story. All ships, this is General Yoon, he spoke into the fleet-wide communication system. Execute Protocol Thunderbolt. Across the human fleet, specialized systems came online. These weren't just weapons, they were the result of humanity's unique approach to Imperial technology. Where the Empire had spent centuries making incremental improvements to their ships, humans had reimagined the underlying principles completely. The Imperial fleet moved into attack formation, their massive dreadnoughts at the center surrounded by cruisers and fighter squadrons. They had fought this way for thousands of years, crushing all opposition with overwhelming firepower. Imperial forces are broadcasting, Sunwoo reported. They're demanding our immediate surrender. No response necessary, Min Jae replied. Begin Phase 1. The human ship suddenly accelerated in ways that the Imperial targeting systems couldn't track. Min Jae had studied the Empire's battle tactics extensively. They relied on predictable attack patterns and overwhelming numbers, but they had never faced an enemy who could think beyond their established strategies. The first wave of Imperial ships fired their main weapons, filling space with destructive energy, but the human vessels weren't where they were supposed to be. Instead, they had moved into positions that the Empire's battle computers had calculated as impossible. Phase 2, ordered Min Jae. The human fleet activated their gravity weapons, technology the Empire had theorized but never successfully implemented. These weapons didn't target the Imperial ships directly. Instead, they distorted space itself, causing the enemy vessels to drift out of formation. On the Imperial command ship, Admiral Dovak watched in growing horror as his carefully planned attack disintegrated into chaos. "How are they moving like that?" he demanded. "No ship can change direction that quickly." His science officer's voice trembled as she replied, "They've modified the inertial compensators in ways our engineers said were impossible. Their crews should be crushed by the G-forces, but somehow they're surviving." The battle continued for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The human ships danced through Imperial formations, their weapons striking with precision that seemed almost supernatural. When Imperial troops managed to board 3 human vessels, they encountered something even more terrifying: human soldiers in powered armor. A squad of Imperial elite guards found themselves face to face with a single human soldier in the corridor of a boarded ship. They fired their weapons, scoring direct hits, but the human kept advancing. The armor absorbed damage that should have been fatal, and the soldier moved with a speed and strength that seemed impossible. Within 6 hours, the Imperial fleet was in full retreat. Nearly 400 of their ships had been destroyed or disabled, while the humans had lost just 27 vessels. As the remnants of the Imperial Armada fled, footage from the battle spread throughout the galaxy. The images shocked even worlds that had lived under Imperial rule for centuries: human ships performing maneuvers that defied known physics, human soldiers continuing to fight despite injuries that would have killed any Imperial species, human engineers repairing critical systems while exposed to radiation levels that should have been lethal. In the aftermath, Minjay toured one of the captured Imperial dreadnoughts. The massive ship had been designed to inspire fear, but now its corridors were silent, its crew evacuated into stasis pods. "Their technology is impressive," said engineer Jisoo Park, who led the capture team. "But rigid. They build everything to last centuries, which means they can't adapt quickly." Minjay ran his hand along the metallic wall of the Imperial vessel. "And that's why they'll lose this war. They can't understand how we think." Back on Earth, President Suman Park received the news of the victory with quiet satisfaction. The Battle of Orion had proven what humanity had suspected: the Empire's power rested on tradition and intimidation, not superior capability. "They'll try again," her advisor warned. "The Empire has never accepted defeat." "Next time, we won't be defending," Suman replied. "It's time to take the fight to them." In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Vexnal watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. His entire military doctrine had been rendered obsolete in a single day. "They're not just another species," he whispered to his inner council. "They think differently. They see solutions where we see only problems." "Perhaps," suggested his strategic advisor, "they are what we once were, before the Empire grew comfortable with power." The Emperor shook his head slowly. "No. They are something new. Something evolution should not have produced." He looked up at his council, fear evident in his eyes. "And I fear the galaxy will never be the same." The Imperial capital world of Xenothar had stood undefeated for 12,000 years. Its gleaming cities stretched across 3 continents, protected by defense systems that generations of engineers had declared impenetrable. Yet today, human ships filled its skies. President Suman Park stepped out of her shuttle onto the polished stone of the Imperial Palace landing pad. Unlike the Emperor who had fled days before, she wore no ornate robes or crown, just a simple blue uniform with Earth's insignia. "It still feels unreal," said Jaehyun Kong, her chief diplomat, as they walked toward the massive palace doors. 6 years ago, we didn't even know the Empire existed." "And they wish that were still true," Suman replied with a small smile. Inside the ancient throne room, representatives from over 300 formerly imperial worlds waited. Some were tall and feathered, others short with multiple limbs or eyes. All had lived under imperial rule for generations. All now looked to humans with a mixture of hope and fear. Suman took her place at the center of the room, deliberately avoiding the ornate imperial throne that dominated the space. "The war is over," she began simply. "The imperial forces have surrendered. But humanity did not fight this war to create a new empire. We fought for a different vision of the galaxy." A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. Many had expected humans to simply replace the emperor, continuing the same system under new management. The Terran Confederation offers membership to all worlds based on self-determination and mutual defense, Suman continued. Each species, each planet will govern itself according to its own traditions. Together, we will build something new. As she outlined the structure of the new Galactic Council, many delegates exchanged confused glances. The concept of true freedom was foreign after millennia of imperial control. An elderly alien with crystalline skin rose to speak. For 800 years, my people have been forced to mine resources for the Empire. The Emperor told us we were too primitive to govern ourselves. And what do you think? Suman asked. The delegate seemed startled by the question. I think we can learn. As can we all, Suman replied. After the assembly, Suman and Jaehyun walked through the Imperial Gardens, now open to all for the first time in thousands of years. They still fear us, Suman observed, noticing how some aliens kept their distance. With good reason, Jaehyun replied. What took the Empire centuries, we accomplished in years. They don't understand how. Then we must help them understand that what they see as godlike is simply human nature, curiosity, adaptability, and the refusal to accept limitations. The transition wasn't easy. Some Imperial loyalists resisted the new order. But as months passed, the benefits of human innovation spread throughout former Imperial space. On the planet Nyx, where a toxic atmosphere had forced natives to live in sealed habitats for generations, human environmental engineers introduced terraforming technology that would make the surface breathable within a decade. On Carey Prime, where Imperial genetic manipulation had created an underclass of workers, human doctors reversed the changes, restoring the native population's full capabilities. Most importantly, humans shared their knowledge freely. Universities opened on formerly restricted worlds. The Empire had controlled information, humans made it available to all. 1 year after the fall of the Empire, the new Galactic Council held its first session on Earth. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered in a circular chamber where all seats were equal. Elder Tekaru, once an Imperial counselor who had warned about the human threat, now served as a cultural liaison. I once feared humans because I did not understand them, he told the council. The Empire grew through conquest and control. Humans grow through cooperation and innovation. These concepts were foreign to us. As the council session ended, Suman met with Min Jae-yoon, now Supreme Commander of the Confederation Defense Force. The last Imperial holdouts surrendered this morning, he reported. The galaxy is at peace for the first time in recorded history. And we must keep it that way, Suman replied. Our advantage was never really technology, it was our way of thinking. If we lose that, we become just another empire. A century later, the galaxy had transformed. The Galactic Council, headquartered on Earth, included representatives from over 2,000 worlds. Human innovations had spread throughout former Imperial space, raising living standards and extending lifespans for countless species. On a distant world that had once been an Imperial mining colony, a young alien child with blue scales watched ships landing at the spaceport. Teacher, the child asked, why did the Empire fear humans so much? The teacher, an elder with faded scales, considered carefully before answering. Because humans showed us that impossible is just a word, not a law of nature. They taught us that limitations exist mostly in our minds. The teacher smiled. And that was the one thing the Empire could never control, the power of a mind that refuses to accept the boundaries others create. The child looked up at the stars, where human and alien ships traveled freely. I want to be like that. I want to see beyond boundaries. Then you already understand the most important lesson humans taught us, the teacher replied. And that is why the galaxy will never be the same.